Thank you very much to our singers who entertained us whilst, as we anticipated, we were a little late. There are a few people still coming in, but we're going to start. This session is the welcome session. The reason that we're holding the conference here is because we're working with SOAS student CND in order to build a student movement of nuclear disarmers across London. During the course of the conference, we're going to circulate sign-up sheets, and we urge you, please, put your names on the list for London region or for SOAS CND, and we will keep you apprised of events. I hope the afternoon is going to be very topical. We'll talk about that a little later on. But first of all, I want to introduce Nobu, who is president of SOAS CND Society, to say a few words. And then we're going to hear from our very first international speaker, Hayley, who I had the pleasure and delight to meet in Japan in the summer. And she's over here from the United States. She's from Peace Action USA, and she's going to give us her thoughts on the new American president and what effect that might have on peace work in the US in future. So Nobu, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Nobu. I am Japanese, and I was grown in Hiroshima City. The atomic bomb was dropped more than half a century ago. And looks like being Japanese or having experience to live in Hiroshima has some very important meaning. But I would like to say that living in London, in the UK, also has very important meaning, as the UK government has its own nuclear weapons, which is British-owned weapons of mass destruction. And because US and UK and other countries said that there is a possibility that Iraq could have weapons of mass destruction, we bombed Iraq, massacred more than 1 million of people, and none of us have apologized to them. So it's really important for us, I think, to be here, to abolish our own weapons of mass destruction, which is named as Trident, which has been excused by the British government as deterrent. I think we cannot allow them to excuse, to have that kind of a grotesque double standard. What they actually say is, it's good for us but not good for them. This is racism, I would say. We are the same human. That's what I think to reconfirm in the 21st century and the beginning of the year 2017. And thank you very much, everyone, in this very important year. Next year, someone will become new president in the US who clearly, yes, protect the nuclear strategy. And UK is ready to Brexit, to destroy the system so far. I wouldn't say the system so far is good or something like that, but it is changing now. So I would like to change it to better world, better society, not the society of the war, the war again. Thank you very much.
I think this conference is really timely. We've got 3 sessions, and the plenary which follows our welcome session is focused on the impact of the United States security strategy across the world. And I think Hayley will be saying a few things about Trump and what he's likely to mean for that in a moment. But we're not just about talking about weapons and war and the conventional view of strategy, which is military strategy. We're also here to talk about the alternatives, to register the fact that there has been a call in the United Nations General Council for a treaty calling for a global ban on nuclear weapons, and the first discussions will open up in March. You'll hear more about that in our final session. You'll also hear people talking about what we can do in Britain to push human rather than military security, how climate change and defense, diversification and US arms sales affect what our policies are and how we can begin in our small way to make some changes. But the next speaker, please give her your support and your welcome, is Hayley Copeley. She's going to tell you about being a student in the United States, president of the chapter in her university of Peace Action USA. Hayley, welcome.
First off, I'd like to thank SOAS and London CND for inviting me to this conference. I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to, voice some of my opinions and experiences. So, as Carol said, I am the co-founder and president of Tufts University Peace Action Chapter, or we call ourselves PACT. And our, organization's mission is to promote and foster a more peace and just U.S. foreign policy. From, ending the settlements of, Israel to, nuclear weapon abolition. So the topic of today is, mostly is centered around the new president-elect, Donald Trump. And I guess the main strategy now is coming up with ways in which we can oppose Donald Trump. For us, it's a matter of survival. It was hard enough just trying to get legislation and our voices heard with Obama, who is a fairly progressive president. But with this, again, it's a matter of survival. You can see he just tweeted recently why that is his, main facet of communicating to the world is beyond me. He's calling for a new arms race with Russia, and even more terrifying is that he is completely scrapping all of the leadership of the National Nuclear Security Administration leadership without any plans to replace these people. So essentially our entire nuclear arsenal is going without leadership for possibly an indefinite amount of time. So that's kind of terrifying. But with that said, today I want to talk about all of the hope that there's going on in the U.S. And the mobilization against Trump and his terrifying foreign policy and administration. So, for example, I represent a growing movement among college campuses. My organization specifically is Peace Action, but there are, and I think we just have, as of now, in the past 3 years, we've started over 10 chapters in the Massachusetts area alone within colleges. So from Harvard to Boston College, Boston University, Brandeis, all of these campuses are organizing their own Peace Action chapters. So that's really exciting. And it's not just Peace Action chapters that young people are finding outlets to engage in student activism. There are a bunch of progressive and social justice organizations that students and young people are rallying behind, mostly in unity against the recent election results, but was largely, I would say, attributed to the fact that, you know, someone named Bernie Sanders really helped unify and inspire a new generation of people, which is really awesome, myself included. So I guess I can talk a little bit about peace action and what we're doing as a college campus and what my neighboring college campuses are doing. So for one, we have 3 main strategies in terms of nuclear disarmament. The first one is being obviously to educate our campus and community about these issues and dangers and increase stigmatization. So we've held like movie nights, open mic nights, and we've even invited like atomic bomb survivors and Noam Chomsky to speak at our university, which is really effective. And I think the largest event we had was the open mic night, which had over 80 people, which is really great because our college is really small. And in addition, the other strategy is to empower students to take action, especially political action, through, you know, writing petitions or organizing rallies and demonstrations and writing articles and lobbying. I know last spring, myself, along with a bunch of other student activists, we went to DC, where we lobbied against some of the provisions in the new, I guess, proposed $1 trillion deal, which, if anyone doesn't know what that is, basically over the next 30 years, the United States government is planning on investing over $1 trillion in upgrading our nuclear weapon arsenal. So we were there in DC lobbying against some of those things, some of the new missiles for that. And in addition, we also organized a really successful rally at the Boston State House, protesting the toxic and completely underqualified Trump appointees, such as you know, Steve Bannon and Jeff Sessions, who will also have a terrifying impact on, you know, U.S. foreign policy. Yes. So, so I guess the last campaign I'd like to talk about, well, the strategy is the Divestment Campaign, which I know CND is also working on promoting, which is the Don't Bank on the Bomb campaign, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. So we hope to implement this Don't Bank on the Bomb campaign at our university and in the local community of Medford and Somerville to also implement this. And right now we are in the early stages of researching and planning for this big campaign. Yeah. So, sorry, I'm a little nervous. So, in conclusion, I want you to know that there is these are really dark times, especially in the America, where we have, you know, an entire Congress controlled by conservative Republicans who don't believe in climate change and believe in, you know, building up our military to its fullest capacity. But I want to say that because of this, it is mobilizing people from all realms of the U.S., and it's really exciting to see the intersectionality, which is kind of what the whole movement should be based on. Because in the end, we all need to do this together. All the, you know, whether you're for sustainability or social justice or nuclear weapon abolition, all of us need to come together in order for this movement to work and in order to oppose Trump in these next 4 years or beyond. So I hope my words offer you some sort of encouragement for the future. And I'm really happy to say that there will be a huge student presence on Inauguration Day, as well as the Women's March the day after the Inauguration Day. And for those of you that also don't know, in the US, there is going to be massive protests in Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day, which is next week, I believe. Man, yes. But with that said, there's over 4 times as many buses registered for D.C. alone for the protesters instead of the actual rally. So it's going to be a huge Inauguration Day, and over half of them will be protesters, which is really awesome. So look for us on the TV. We'll be there. But thank you so much again. Have a lovely day. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Hayley.